So I just finished painting the other colors, parts of the body that is a darker red tone. Actually priming them, didn't mean by painting them, priming them. Using black primer, I primed all the darker red parts into this kind of like opaque like darker tone, because I wanted to make sure that it didn't match the overall body of the other parts that I just painted recently. Now, for this I have decided to use Char's Red. This is a darker tone red, and I want to see how this comes out. First, let me try a test part, or a part that can barely be seen. This is one of the back parts. I'm going to zoom in here. See how this looks. Coming out a little wet, but it's kind of expected because I was trying to thin out this part. So I'm just leaving it the way it is for now, and then I'll repass it up later on. Let's try the big boy. I'm going to do some strokes here. Oh, okay, this is really coming out nice. Ooh. See, it's good to put like a black undertone to darken up the colors. Am I getting enough light here so you guys can see this? Hold on a second. I guess maybe in the angle that I'm in right now. It's kind of cool that this part is all one, it's actually the back part, the top part, and the two side parts, and then, you know, at least I can paint it like this all in one shot. I grab everything here. There are very few parts in here, so I don't have to worry about going overboard with paint. But if I run out, obviously I have a lot. Hopefully later on you'll see more of this. All right, let's pull out the crotch part. Now clearly the option parts that you see here will be, once this part is dried and it's evened out the colors, then I'm going to mask it, repaint the parts, you know, a lighter primer tone, and then paint it white and painted the other colors. Alright, that's good. Now there is something else I want to show you that I was also working on. I decided to mask off some parts that I'm going to paint this color. I'm going to begin with this first. Once it's dry, I will remask it so I can paint that the area under the color. But for now, let me just do a control spray. The other side. There we go. Now it's, yep, you can see two different tones of red. So this one was from the shoulder, of course, the shoulder spike, but I removed the side parts, so I'm going to keep that the other color, while the inside I'm going to do the other tone. I think it will probably be appropriate for this. This one, which I said that I was going to paint these areas, but I'm going to do this. I'm going to just paint this area here. Am I getting it? Nope, I'm not. Good. Then of course I'll mask it off, paint that in one color, mask that off, paint that other color. Do one of the grenades. Let's do one more trim. Let's do, yeah, this one. This is part of the bicep armor. Okay. Yeah, this is a lot of work to do all this, you know? It's not as simple as you think, but with patience and time, hopefully we get it done properly. So I'm going to continue on with this. There's other parts that I did mask off. Parts of the leg, parts of the arms, parts of the parts you could say. And then once we're done with the reds, you know, I was saying I'm going to do another red color tone, but I guess what I'm doing right now should be sufficient enough. We'll then move on to other colors that are required. So let me continue with this and we'll move on. Alright, so right now I'm in the middle of putting masking tapes on the remaining red parts that I've completed. So I can do parts, you know, detail parts, color separations, two tones, you know, 2 or 3 colors, I don't know yet, depending on how I feel. It's a bit daunting task considering the amount of detail that this kit has, but let me show you how far I've gone so far. For starters, we'll begin with the shoulder parts, which I did cover up that detail, the option part that I did purchase and put on. That's ready to go. These two are here. I know that there's a nice little detail part that goes around there for this. There's a circle part here, which I believe I have a stencil somewhere. And if not, I'm going to have to make one for the whole. Because for these two on the two shoulders, I want to paint it chrome. I have a Molotov color pen and refill, which I'm thinking of painting these two little parts chrome. This will be a darker tone color, of course. I don't know which one. Maybe Titan's blue, maybe metallic. I don't know yet. But that's something I'm going to work on right there. I masked off this entire part here very easily, so I can paint the whole thing white. And then if I can hand brush this part a metallic color like the chrome, that'll be great. The spikes, all three spikes have been masked, so I can paint this. Now I'm trying to determine, and I'm going to pull out the shield here. So the shield, I'll go back to the spike in a minute. The shield has this detail part, and I'm going to paint this like a darker gray tone or something like that. This one I've seen people paint it darker gray or metallic. I may do metallic here. For this, I'm actually thinking of doing metallic as well, like the chrome. Maybe, I don't know if that may be a good idea, but I'll think about it. I was actually originally thinking putting on white color. But then I said to myself, well, the entire edge of the entire shield is white, minus the actual other detail part that I put on the side. That's going to be chrome. So it's a balance right there. I don't know yet. I'm still thinking about that. It's up to debate, you could say. Here's the part for the foot, which I covered up these guys first because I thought this was going to be a much more tougher thing for us to do than the others, but I don't know yet. The back part of the head, here and here. I know that there's a detail part there, and as much as I want to maybe cover it up, I don't know. I have to cover up this one. I just realized it now. So this one has to be covered and painted as well. Now the leg part, I did put these on. There's a detail part in here that I did not realize. Right here, this part. I tried to mask it off with this, but it kept on, I couldn't get the right angle properly. It's going to annoy me, I think, but whether I'm going to do it or not just remains to be seen. I don't know yet. I really don't know. This is the part of the foot. That's going to be a darker tone color. There's no other detail here anywhere. I think I'm still working on a few things. This is the one that I just finished painting this part, which now I'm going to take masking tape and cover that up. So now I can paint these areas here. And of course, if I paint this, I'll cover that up and then paint this. I still have a few more parts to work on. I have to mask this entire area off so I can paint that inside. I'm going to paint the inside of all this. But for that, I gotta mask off that area. I know this one goes... You know, I didn't realize that this actually goes into the calf armor. This could have been a different color overall, but it doesn't matter. Now I also have to work on the skirt armor. So that's another thing. Do you imagine the amount of masking I have to do for that, and that? It's crazy. Absolutely crazy. And of course, I'm doing this masking part before working on the inner frame, the weaponry and all that stuff. So I want to get this out of the way first, then work on the weaponry and all that stuff, and then that way once I'm on the other color, then I transition to this. So let me finish up what I got and we'll move on to that. Alright, before I move on and paint into the next colors, I was cleaning up the reservoir, removing all the paint, the water that was left over. Right now I'm just cleaning up the glass. Which I wanted to point out something to you guys. If you guys are going to get this, remember that you're going to have to replace this water every, I would say, every few hours of you painting. Because I noticed that even though it'll collect the paint and all that stuff, that water's not meant to be there forever. You gotta replace it. And I think the tall tale sign is that when the waterfall starts to fall down and it begins to foam up a bit as it's falling down, it's time to change it. Now I did replace the water reservoir, cleaned up the inside, and now I'm gonna turn it on. See, the water's coming down nice and clean, but when it begins to foam up, then you know the water needs to be replaced. I am also noticing that even though it has a filter, the other side of the glass is already dirty. So, don't know if there's a problem there, but it's doing its job. So, let me just prepare the paint, and then we'll begin painting.